All right, welcome everyone to the Adorama Photographers Roundtable. I'm Kishore Sawh. I'm joined by Paola Franqui, Timmy, Dave Krugman, and Jason M. Peterson. And I guess we'll get right into it. I think an obvious place to start for everyone here who has social followings like larger than the populations of some countries would be to ask you how important you think photography is today. And that's because there was a stat that was put out about a year and a half ago that said every 2 minutes today, there are more photographs taken than in the entirety of the 20th century.
When smartphones became so accessible to everybody and kind of democratized photography a little bit, I think the initial reaction from the photography community was like feeling a little bit threatened. But actually what happened at the same time is like, there is a much larger supply of photographers, but the importance of digital content and visual content, the demand has never been higher because now the advertising spaces are these infinitely refreshing screens in our pockets. And back in the 90s, like the amount of space that you had for visual content, it was kind of finite. And now there's this infinite demand. And I think that even though the supply of photography has gone up tremendously, like I think that the demand has even outpaced that. So I think it's a great time, and photography is more important than it's ever been, really.
It's like everyone in the world's a photographer, right? And I think a lot of, like as you said, I think a lot of photographers have been kind of threatened by that. But for me, it's a challenge. Like I love the fact that like some of my favorite photographers used to be a school teacher or a barista or whatever they are. Like we all have the ability now to take great photographs. But I think, for people like us as photographers, I think it's the ability to push the craft forward. So it's not just about having a camera in your hand, but crafting and making amazing images.
And I mean, your imagery in particular, you seem to be very, you do a lot of black and white.
Yeah.
And a lot of negative space. It's almost sort of classically indulgent.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's funny is like, I'm old as fuck. Like I've been doing this I'm sorry. Timmy said he was gonna swear, so he opened it up, bro.
That's fine, they said you're fine.
But, I've been doing this a long time, right? Photography is not a new thing to me. Running around and shooting photographs with friends around New York City, I've been doing it for 25 years. This is not like something new because of Instagram. I've crafted a style of photography. Like I showed a photo that I shot in 1992, and it looks just like a photo I shot yesterday. So it's very much like I had a point of view on a style really based on classic, kind of 1950s, 60s photography. And I think my success is part of that is because no one was really doing that on social media, so it exploded.
Have you always done black and white?
Always, yeah.
Since the very beginning?
Always in the beginning. And I really did it, initially because I printed all my own stuff. I only had a black and white enlarger and a black and white darkroom. So to me, photography was always black and white. Now it's just a thing.
Do you shoot in color, like ever? Like,
no.
Do you see the world in black and white?
I'm colorblind. So
yeah, really?
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Generally colorblind, so that's part of it as well.
So you're kind of cheating.
I'm just being myself. Yeah, here we go.
I feel like it's more competitive nowadays than ever. And you have to do something that you're going to be remembered by. Like, you have to, I feel like everybody's doing the same thing, and you need to find a way to stand out. And that's also challenging as well. Every day you have to find new ways to work harder than ever before, and to stay inspired after seeing the same thing all the time. You have to be like, no, I want to do something different. And that's what's going to make you be on top and be remembered.
But I remember when we started being on Instagram, and Jason was saying he was taking pictures 25 years ago. I've been taking pictures. I bought my website in 2005. And I think I got on Instagram in 2011. So I was already taking pictures for a while, but even in that time frame, I've already seen a new generation. You know what I mean? Like the whole landscape has changed from the beginning, maybe 8-9 years ago till now. It's completely different. Now you have almost this second crop of photographers. Now there's a whole new batch of young photographers. Now it's when people talk about Jason, myself, and Dave, and some of the older, not older, but we've been on before. We just got to the party early. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Like, we've been there earlier, but now it's like we're the OGs now.
But I'm gonna say that because I think you're being modest about it though too. Like this guy was doing this same shit pre-Instagram, Flickr, and stuff like that, and you created a generation of these kids. You know what I mean? Tim's style, 13th Witness sort of style, created a whole generation of photographers that are all like evolving in different things now.
I think what I did was I was able to show people that, hey, you don't need a fancy camera. People ask me all the time, what camera do you use? And I tell them, it's like the best camera to use is the one that you have on you. Whether it's your phone, whether it's a Polaroid, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like people were taking pictures 70 years ago that are destroying what people are putting out nowadays. And like, I guarantee you the technology back then wasn't anything we would have jumped to fucking be using right now.
I'm sure that a common thread amongst all of us is the #1 question we get is, what camera,
What lens?
what camera, what lens, what camera, what lens?
And it's like, I could tell you, but
Yeah, and I think the point is that photography is about kind of how you see the world and how you express your curiosity about the world visually. I even started an account that's just, I limited myself to only iPhone. Yeah. Like it's
But
called
back in the
Secret
days, that's
Street.
what it was, remember?
But it's like when people ask me that question, they're like, oh, I have $1,000 to my name. What camera should I buy? I'm like, go check out this account. And they go over there like, oh, I like that stuff. What's that shot on? And I'm like, iPhone 4 to iPhone 10 over the past 5 years. Like, if you like that, know that you can create with what you have on you
It's a hard
already.
thing to get through people's heads, especially like younger photographers. Like we say it all the time, but we really do mean it. Like I still, like all of us have deals with different camera companies and stuff where we have the ability to have nice cameras, but my best photos are still shot on my iPhone every time.
I think the iPhone
Every
4, if I look back,
Oh my God.
the iPhone 4 might have been the #1 iPhone. Like, I got my best photos ever on any iPhone with an iPhone 4. Like, I swear, like, there was something about that iPhone 4. It was
Just walking around hunting for photos on your
it was
on
amazing,
your fucking iPhone
you know?
is like,
and it made you really become creative, right? Because when your equipment's not just like,
It gave you a creative ceiling, like you had to work within parameters. that
you
were-
did, but
weren't very
I mean,
much.
also at the beginning of Instagram, that was the fun part for people taking pictures was we were all kind of playing this game, but it was a very level playing field.
don't you also think like during that kind of time, like photographers weren't cool?
No,
Like to me,
no, it wasn't
photographers
cool.
were corny as fuck. They look like
They were old, they
You know,
had,
they
like-
look like magicians. They had like fucking like flowery shirts on, and they had expensive equipment, and they were really corny. So like to be a photographer, like it took me a long time to even admit I was a photographer because I thought photographers were corny. Like I'm like, those guys aren't cool. They're a bunch of nerds. And I think social media has added that to it. Like I always use the analogy, like 15 years ago, chefs were in the back of the kitchen and no one gave a shit about it. Now they're some of our biggest celebrities and they're rock stars. The same thing has happened with photographers because of social media. You know what I mean? So it does get in that thing, like I don't consider myself a celebrity. Like I'm a dad from Chicago, you know what I mean? But the public forum of photographers is insane.
I mean, actually, speaking of like identity and what people are going to think of you in the future, I mean, you all tend to have your specific genres. I mean, we're here to talk about street photography, kind of. But what if one day you wake up tomorrow and you're like, you know what, I want to go shoot dogs. Can you do that today? Do you think that that's possible? You built your audiences around your genre.
Dogs are easy money on Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
Put a puppy on you can put a puppy on anywhere on the internet, you're gonna do well.
There you go.
I mean, I always say like, you know, you would categorize me, I guess, as a street photographer, but I'm only a product of the environment that I grew up in. You know, I grew up here in New York City, so obviously it's not going to be beautiful landscapes and lushy green. You know, this is my studio. So, but you can put me anywhere in the world. You can throw me in the desert, throw me in a rainforest, you know, throw me in a dog kennel, and I'll get you pictures of dogs. You know what I mean? Like, I'll shoot whatever I'm interested in. I don't like to say to myself or say to other people like, oh, I'm this type of photographer. I'll shoot anything that catches my eye.
But do you think that you could actually change and still maintain your
My eye's always going to be the
level
same.
of fame?
I think
Whether, you know-
talent-wise, everyone here can do that. But I think audience-wise, I think that's where there's an interesting thing, right? So I've had a big focus in the last like year and a half or 2 years on shooting music, you know, just because of the access all this, you know, shit's brought me. And I love doing it. But my audience that follows me on Instagram doesn't love the same music that I love.
It's because for years
And the
we've
same
been
thing, so it's
training
like-
them.
Yeah, but you've been training in that sort of way, and it's like like Timmy says, like if I love something, I'll do it. I only shoot music that I love, stuff I'm way into, but that's gonna cut your social media audience in half or less. So it's like I think you could do it, but you know I think your audience follows you like Like they watch a television show. They watch it for this reason, right?
Like you have to play a little bit to these systems, but at the same time, like the fastest way to succeed on Instagram is to do the same exact thing every day. Like post the same, almost the same exact photo every day. In a year, you're gonna have 1 million followers because you found such a niche that people just want to see that one hit every time.
But imagine for me, I have 100% of my feed is like street photography, like people. Then I post a landscape and people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, people don't understand it because they're used to seeing one thing, you know? So it's like I struggle with that. Do I keep doing that, or sometimes I, do something different? So it's like a struggle.
Yeah, but it's important to like push against those boundaries and let them expand a little bit without breaking through to the point where you're losing
But that's
people.
it's once or twice is what you're saying. I mean, what if you were to really shift?
I would probably start a new account, honestly, and develop a new audience and build up that audience around a new idea.
Yeah.
The people, though, that helped you get to where you are now almost the same group of people who are holding you back from, you know what I mean? Like,
That's a good way to put it.
They helped you get to this point, but now they're the ones holding you back from growing because you want to grow, but they're not growing. You know what I mean?
I think it's also splitting hairs, like knowing all of you guys as well. It's like, I think all of us shoot because we love to do it, right? So the images we post or we push out there in social media are like, we are really excited about regardless of what it is. But I think audience is kind of, finicky on some of that stuff, especially when you're trying to push into new things.
But how do you, maintain what you want to do for your kind of creative growth, and also maintain the fact that, maintain your business? I mean, you still have to make a living doing this, right?
I think it's a constant process of like towing the line, kind of like, I want to grow as an artist and I want to expand, but I also, feel a sense of loyalty to my audience. And, what social media has done is they've just taken a model that's always existed and it's in a new medium, which is the subscription-based content model, right? And the advertising works the same way, everything works the same way. If you subscribe to Auto Trader magazine and, every week you get this magazine coming to your house about cars, and then one day it's about like hair care products, you're gonna cancel your subscription. For us, that's like losing that follow. But can you talk about things like within the car culture and like grow your widen your lens a little bit without losing those subscribers? Like that's I think the line we're all trying to walk.
Auto Trader's not free, right? You gotta pay for Auto Trader. To follow me, you don't have to pay. You don't have to sign up for a monthly subscription. It's free. But with that being said, I don't have another job other than photography, so I gotta pay rent. And paying rent is it's a reality. So although I'm not charging a subscription, there is that balance that you have to find where you're working with commercial brands and you have to do things in order to monetize, at least, for ourselves. And that's always been the trickiest thing, is finding brands to align with that make sense and that kind of fit organically with everything else we're doing. And it's a struggle.
I think that's the smartest kind of thing. Like, I have the luxury because like I have a creative career, so this is a piece of it, right? So I could kind of pick and choose. Yeah. But I think the best photographers pick and choose. There's nothing worse than hashtag ad when it's like a hashtag paycheck to for a brand versus finding the right opportunities that are going to be right for you at the same time right for a brand. Yeah. And those things, I'm like, this is the easiest thing in the world because I'm just going to take your brand and make it part of my aesthetics and part of my audience and my feed, and it fits in. Like, people go, I don't even notice the branded stuff you do because it's right.
It's good to partner with brands for things that we would, like, if you go and you look back to before Instagram users were even getting paid for their content. It's like, look at what I'm shooting and then let me partner with a brand that I would have basically done for free. Like something that I would have just chosen to shoot, but then it makes sense. It's like, then they win, then I win.
What would you, if you guys weren't shooting, what would you do? I mean, what was it? What were the other options on the table, or what were the things that you gave up?
Damn.
I just always want to be working in a creative field. I love the agency life, and I love feeling like every day is fresh and coming up with new ideas and stuff like that.
So I'd not Auto Trader then. You would have been some other kind of creative.
Yeah, I just think creativity is just not a choice for me. It's like just how I need to live and move through the world.
Yeah, I mean.
And you, Paola?
I went to school for criminal justice, and I have a minor in sociology. And I've been doing freelancing for only like a year and 4 months. But I guess I would be doing something in law enforcement, maybe like a cop or
Really?
yeah,
That's
Arresting
pretty
people
cool.
who use bots.
I'd be calling you to like, get me out of jail probably if I was.
something along the line. But now that I've had a taste of this world, I don't see myself ever not doing this. It's just too good to just not do it, especially if you love it so much. You know it.
You could give legal advice to the rest of us, though. That might help a little bit.
Sure, I can do that.
Well, we need to talk after that.
I got you.
Yeah, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and like I was really into like punk rock bands and stuff like that, and that's how I got into photography and design. And when I left Phoenix, I go, if I don't make it as a creative person, my goal was I was going to come back to Phoenix and be a mailman, because like mailmen in Phoenix have the best life. Yeah, because a mailman would be dope, because I just wanted like a cool lifestyle. But how they do it is they have these mail trucks with a bike on the front. And they pull up to these neighborhoods in Phoenix. They ride the bike through the neighborhoods and deliver mail. I'm like, yo, that'd be gangster. You get a tan, deliver mail. What's up?
A little hot now, though.
Yeah, but I was like, that'd be like a cool. That was my backup plan. Mailman.
Just inspired a whole new generation of like mailmen.
Mailman would be cool.
I
That'd
can
be a dope
actually
job.
see it now.
Yeah,
I'm just
mailman.
seeing you with the outfit and everything.
Sometimes I think that one of the reasons that I take pictures is because one day I'm not gonna remember anything that ever happened in my life, and like all I'm gonna have left, it's like these pictures, you know, it's like memento, like writing post-its on myself, trying to remember like shit that happened, but like it's real though, you know,
I
like
think we all have a little bit of that.
even now, like when I look at mundane moments or things going on, and I'm like kind of like, oh well, you know what, this isn't interesting enough to take a picture. Then I think about like old photos and photographers that I look at where it might feel like nothing right now, but like in 100 years or
Probably
it's
even,
gonna be,
but probably even less. Exactly. I look at photos that I shot in New York City from 15 years ago, and it's like it's fucking insane. It looks like it looks like it's 50 years ago, but it's only 15 years ago. But they're like, no one is walking down the street staring at their phones. The cabs and the cars are all a certain way. Everything else is kind of the same, but totally different because it's like, I mean, the biggest thing is the phone. Like people are walking down the
That's
street.
how I feel about taking photos for people on their phones, right? I'm like, I hate it, but it's like you have to because you're documenting. Like
This is the best
this
example.
is now.
So if you think about like those classic pictures, like there's a classic picture, I forget who the photographer is, but it's like all these people on a subway car and they all have the New York Times open. They're all reading the newspaper, right? And now people are complaining like, oh, street photography is ruined because everybody's isolated in their own world. It's like, no. This is an era that is going to disappear.
Yes.
And it's fascinating that this is happening and it's worth documenting. And I totally agree with you guys.
It's the same, but it's different, right? And I think to be judgmental on it is to be like a fucking old person. It's like to be your parents and go, well, if you just did this, like, stop it. You're not gonna change those kind of things. The only way out of this thing is forward. So it's like, just recognize it for what it is.
And the modern day version of that picture of everybody looking at the newspaper is the L train with everybody glued to their phone. And in 10 years, that behavior is gonna be gone. Like, we're gonna have something else, you know? Who knows, but.
Given all the life experiences, what's on the bucket list for you all? I mean, there's got to be something you guys want to do.
For me, I just want to continue traveling. That's something that I've always wanted to do since the very beginning, and I don't want to stop.
Somewhere in particular, like a real like top of the bucket list kind of thing?
India right now is like on top of my list.
Hell
right now.
yeah,
Like
go there.
I have to go.
Go there.
I'm ready whenever. Like I can go tomorrow if you want. Like I want to go to India, and that's something that like I'm looking forward to because I want to make it happen. Even if it's like I have to pay for everything by myself, I don't care. But it's like I really want to go there. So let's go. Let's
bucket
go.
list.
I know. I mean, obviously, but if I had to.
I mean, yes, like Paola said, definitely. I mean, I would love to continue to keep traveling. But I already feel like I've been super fortunate enough to, like, even as a kid, I have a French mother, so every summer growing up until I was 17, I spent my summers in the south of France. So I've always had I've always been fortunate enough to kind of travel as a kid, and even after that, I continue to travel, which I think is really important for anybody. You know, like seeing the world is the best way to understand the world. I just want to keep doing.
The paradigm of contentment here, that's amazing.
It is.
I mean, sometimes you want, some people, they just want too much. You're overly ambitious, and it's impossible to do everything you want to do. At least do it the right way. You know, if you want to do some things right, you gotta You can't.
I think all of us share the thing though. I think we're all really happy doing what we're doing. But like what I find is like I shoot photos every single day. Every single day I shoot photos, but it's like in a weird way, it makes me more hungry to shoot more photographs.
You learn every
Do you know what I mean? Every time I learn and every time I do it and you're like chasing this stuff, but it's like, like to me, I'm like, no, I want to do more, I want to do more, I want to do more. Like there's a finite time that we're here and I want to explore shooting photographs every single minute of the day and more and more. And traveling's part of that, opportunity is part of that. Opening yourself up to, you know, other opportunities I think is critical. But like, I mean, definitely me, and I know you guys, like I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, totally. I didn't want to say that because it's like, does that?
But it is.
I never started doing this because my goal, my motivation was to inspire people. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's not like I started doing this because I wanted to just inspire a whole generation of kids. Like I did this because I wanted to do it. And I felt really passionately about it and I just, you know, it just snowballed. You know, it went from I kind of like this to I really like this to wow, I can do this. And now it's like a drug, you know, where you gotta keep feeding that you gotta keep getting high from it.
Yeah, because it's like running in a race where the finish line keeps moving. Like
There is
you'll
no
never
finish
get
line.
there.
It's like, to me, it's like poetry, right? So like once you have a mastery of the English language, which I don't think anybody's like ever a true master of anything, then you can like, okay, we have all these variables. Like how do we recombine and mix these things up and like make these different equations that are what, you know, well-balanced imagery is what I like to think of it of. And so like the fact that is a journey that never ends and you never actually achieve mastery is the most beautiful thing about a creative life to me.
So I mean, with all the experience you guys have, some of the people that are going to be watching this have made a few missteps already, or they know that they're going to be there in their future. What's the biggest mistake that you've made in your career as a photographer?
Jesus.
There's got to be one that stands out and you think, damn it.
I've kind of realized I move so fast that I mess up. I fuck up the basic things, right? My biggest mistake ever was, this is maybe like 5 years ago, I just got the Leica monochrome M camera and I was super excited, like literally got it that day. And I was hanging out in Chicago with Lupe Fiasco and we're hanging out at Soho House and the windows were like this and the light was coming in and I was just like, just hanging out. It was like having lunch, whatever, snapping away these photos, like really candid. And I was like, fuck, these are so good. They're so good. Look at all of them. And I was just psyched. And I gotta go. I can't whatever hang out. I was gonna go and edit the photos. I get home, open the camera.
No memory card.
No memory card.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, but that's happened to me so many times.
No memory card. No memory. JPEG's another thing, but no memory card. And like Lupe's hit me up. Sky was hitting me up. Yo, you got those photos of Lupe? I'm like, but what you have to do, you have to realize, you have to be human. You have to come up. You have to fess up and go, I messed up.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is like I've done that before. Like the very first time I ever met Jay-Z, I was shooting a video with him, and I shot the video. Everything was great, and I was like, all right, let's watch the video. And I wasn't even rolling audio, and I was like, holy fuck, like I wasn't able to shoot it again. Like that was it. But you only hope you can learn from these mistakes. But I mean, the no memory card, I've done it. I was like, okay, I'm never gonna do that again. It's probably happened to me dozens of times like since then, you know what I mean? And if it's not the memory card, it's like the no battery or it's always some dumb little cable that you're missing, you know what I mean? But like these are things that can, I guess, be fixed, but like shooting with no memory card and not being able to get stuff.
To all the people watching, set your camera to not release the shutter without a memory card. That's the only solution.
Sony tells you, right? Sony goes like, no, you
A
have
lot of
a memory
cameras
card.
these days have built-in memory too.
Yeah.
I think for that exact reason.
I
of,
literally
like,
would buy a camera just for that. But I think you also have to stay humble about those kind of things because you're going to make mistakes. You know what I mean?
It's discouraging for a lot of younger people. I mean, really discouraging when they mess up and something goes wrong. Versus
yeah, but
you
that's
guys
how you
who
win,
have
though.
so much.
You have
like,
to fail in
positive
order
fall
to
back on.
succeed.
Yes and no, but maybe the bar is lower. Like I get it. Like there's so much pressure on. I was like, yo,
They don't have Lupe texting them saying, "Where are my
I kind of
photos?"
fucked up.
Yeah, but if you're not fucking up all the time, you're not doing enough.
I think that's totally true.
I feel like you're holding out. Like, this is a big
like
one
what
that you're not
happened to me
telling
in
us.
Cuba last year. I mean, we were out all day, and I still remember the photos that I took. It was like the best day that I got. It was like more than 1,000 images. So I went home and I put my SD card in my computer. I uploaded them to Lightroom and whatever. I thought they were there, so I went ahead and I formatted the card. And then I'm like, okay, that's perfect. So I go back to edit the photos. they're not there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I start freaking out. So I lost all the photos from that day.
You probably
and
imported directly from the card before
I don't
copying
know
the
what the fuck
card.
I did. I messed up. So now it's like,
Well, Lightroom is no. Lightroom doesn't take
yeah.
all the time.
Now
so.
I learned not to do that, to make sure that I have all the photos ready
I
before
don't know if I
formatting.
learned or if I've
and-
just been scarred permanently from that, but like I have this thing now where like I just refuse to format a card. Even though I
You
know,
don't,
even
okay.
if I see it on 3 different hard drives, I just refuse to do it.
Dude,
like,
that's my biggest moment of anxiety every day. I'm like,
Are you
format's
sure?
Like, yes. I'm
are you sure?
like, I know I have 25 backups of this. I'm just gonna leave them on the card,
Just in case.
especially when I'm traveling.
Memory cards are cheap.
I'll
Just
buy a new
buy
memory
more
card
memory
before I'll
cards.
format one.
Every day buy a new memory card, that's
Come
it.
on, it's all about it. I think that's really important, especially for younger people. Like my photography teacher in high school, I took photography all through high school. He said I would never make it. Like he said, you're a crap, you're a garbage, all this sort of stuff. Like literally. And I was in photo class with a photographer named Chris McPherson. Him and I have been friends forever. He's a professional photographer. And the justice was 15 years after we graduated high school, we did a giant Coke photo shoot at the high school and made that photography teacher bring his whole class out and watch us. And I'm like, what's up now, bitches?
I love that memory, by the way. I feel like everyone has one of those really, really awesome photo memories. That's got to be one of the best ones.
I
mean,
almost failed every photo class I took in college.
What's your good photo memory? Your best photo memory?
I think one of my favorite things about photography is that my grandfather collected Leica cameras. And like, as I got more and more serious, my dad was always a hobbyist too. My dad was like, I want to show you something. And he like took me upstairs to his room and he had this box and I open it up and it's just like shrink wrapped Leica gear. I was like, that's crazy. And that's ended up being why I bought a Sony, because it was the first full frame camera that I could adapt these, incredible vintage lenses to.
That's a pretty national treasure moment as well. Yeah. For you?
To me, I think it was like having my first like gallery exhibit show.
It's awesome.
It
Where
was
was
like
that?
6 years ago when I wasn't even half what I am now. Somebody saw potential in me. She had her own studio in Princeton, New Jersey, and she was like, would you want to like print your photos and showcase them? And I was like, sure. So it was at that moment that I realized that I had potential to be great. And, just like hearing the people like looking at my photos and was like, oh, this is really good. That's when everything changed for me. That's when I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So it was that moment that I saw everything, and I still
Somebody
think.
gave you that confidence.
Yeah, she saw it, and she
Shout out
was
to
like,
her.
yeah, because of her. Now I feel like I am where I am now.
I've always had like great moments with people like Timmy, like people that I know and have met through social media, and we're just out making stuff together. Like I was thinking about, remember the first time we went on a helicopter? Remember like that first trip? Like this is the beginning, no one ever knows this shit. The beginning of New York On Air was Vin Farrell.
Shout out to Vin.
And me going to Vin, yo, you gotta find a helicopter for me to go in. He goes, yo, I found this little helicopter company called New York On Air. They have 200 followers on Instagram. I hit them up, and I said, will you take Jason Peterson and his friend 13th Witness up in a helicopter? I had like 150,000 followers. I'm like, yeah. And like me and Timmy go out to fucking New Jersey. We're hanging out a helicopter with our I have my iPhone. I think you had a camera. And we're like shooting photos. Like that, I'm like, that was the best moment ever. Yeah. Like,
But also, like, that changed everything. It changed everything.
Everyone did it. Yeah. But it was like the thing, like no. We are the doors off, hanging above the Empire State Building shooting photos. Like people, you don't realize that now because it's become so normal.
So he had these dope Jordans on, and he took a picture really low where you could see the shoe and the bridge. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sick. And I don't know if it was on that exact ride, but then
I think it was the next one when he did it.
Where like
so this is like, we are responsible for like the worst trend in the world, which is like a shoe selfie. I swear to God, it was those two photos.
Like the internet,
that blew up the
Instagram
internet.
Exploded after that. Like,
and now I see everyone
off of rooftops.
And I judge people because they have such bad shoes. Like I had the fucking Joker 3s.
I did it with the Toro 4.
Yeah, you did it with those.
People tend to think that in order to take good pictures, you have to go to all these beautiful places, And while of course that is true, I don't know, it's also, there's something really interesting about the challenge of being able to just walk down a regular street and see beauty in things that most people would just walk by a million times and not even look twice. I mean, you can take everybody to a beautiful sunset on a beautiful location around the world and, a postcard-worthy kind of place, but that's easy, right? Like, there's not really a challenge in going to a beautiful place and taking a beautiful picture, right? I mean, the only challenge at that point is just getting there. But I think, like, the real interesting thing is just being able to take these everyday moments that actually don't even look good, and turning them into more than just a picture, but like an emotion, a feeling, a story. You know what I mean? Like, and I think for me, that's something that I always enjoy. Like, I like the challenge of taking something horribly disgusting and finding beauty in it. Yeah. Because that's a challenge. Like,
I think that speaks to what I love about photography is that it's not just this thing I do, it's a way of seeing the world.
I think that's the thing that all of us kind of share, and I think that's the biggest thing that social media and photography kind of really need to look at is like not emulating the exact same things that have been done, but finding your own way into it, finding your other spots, your new places, or a new way to even look at the same spot that everyone else is shooting at. Like, and that's why, like, to me, like, I love that stuff. Like, when I travel, you have that list of like 10 places that we know about because of social media. Right. I want to go to those places not to shoot it like how it's been done. I want to go there to experience it and shoot it in the way I want to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
that's all we can do.
And that's why, like, I think all of us kind of do that, and that's what's always so rad. Like,
back in the day, you needed to pay your dues, you needed to have a body of work. Now, one good song, one good picture, you're a famous rapper. You think that you're the best, but it's like, no, it takes more than that. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you can get noticed from that, but at the end of the day, also you need to keep the
work.
Yeah, you need to have work. You need to have like more to show. So
to me, it's fascinating that we can be here sitting down and looking at the same thing, and if we were to take that photo, it's not going to look the same. It's just like fascinating the way that we're looking at one thing, but it's not going to look the same.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
If we all saw the world the same way, life would suck.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, it'd suck.
You guys are, you all have such like unique perspectives on stuff. It's very cool. And this is, I mean, it's been a pleasure for me. So Paola, thank you. Timmy, thank you. Dave, Jason. And thank you for watching. Subscribe if you like it, and we'll see you next time.